This could or should be the most important jobs-creating bill in America, investing in our nation's infrastructure, making our nation more competitive in the international economy, more efficiently moving goods and people. The current system, a legacy of the 1950s, is falling apart. Now, the Republicans are telling us that this 90-day extension will be good for America. It will not be good for America because we have a better option before us. A bill passed the United States Senate, bipartisan bill, with 22 Republican senators, half the Republican senators, supporting that bill, which would give us more funding without creating deficit and create more jobs than their pie-in-the-sky bill, H.R. 7, which they can't even get out of their own caucus here because their own caucus is split. There are a number of Republicans who do not believe we should have a national transportation system. They want to devolve it back to the states, go back to pre-1950s. The Speaker was forced to say to his caucus, we're not making the claim that spending taxpayer money on transportation projects creates jobs. We don't make that claim. We won't make that claim. What makes this a jobs bill is it removes government barriers that are getting in the way of economic growth. Well, that's not what all the people engaged in rebuilding the nation's infrastructure think. They think investment equals jobs. And if we do this 90-day extension, the Association General Contractors says that states will cut back to 50 to 40% of their planned projects because of the uncertainty created by this 90-day extension. We're going to lose half of the proposed projects this construction season around America, tens of thousands of jobs, needed investment, because they got a bunch of bozos in their caucus who don't believe we should have a national transportation system. They're fighting among themselves. Give us a vote. Let us vote on the Senate bill. It doesn't create deficit. It does create jobs. It does give us the investment we need. The gentleman who spoke just before me, the gentleman from Tennessee, who is a good friend, under the bill they're trying to pry out of their caucus, which the Secretary of Transportation called the worst transportation bill in history. And by the way, the Secretary is a Republican and served in this House for more than a decade. He says it's the worst bill ever in terms of policy and lack of investment. In the case of the gentleman from Tennessee, their H.R. 7, if they could get it out of caucus, and they can't, would cost his state $444 million over 5 years. Lost investment, $444 million. That's more than 10,000 jobs lost. We have an opportunity today to take up a 2-year bill, provide the certainty, not only for construction jobs, for engineering jobs, for people who manufacture construction equipment, for people with Made in America requirements who construct transportation equipment, our buses, our light rail, our streetcars, all the things that need building and replacing just for the existing system, let alone beginning to have a vision of building out a 21st century system. Our competitor nations around the world are doing it, and they're so dyspeptic on their side, they're arguing over whether or not the federal government should be involved in transportation. That's nuts. We settled that debate 60 years ago when Dwight David Eisenhower said this doesn't work. We have states building turnpikes that end in farmers' fields because the adjoining state couldn't afford to build their section of the turnpike. He said we need a coordinated national transportation policy. We have an opportunity to improve on the one we have today by passing the Senate bill. It does do some streamlining. It does do things that will help us spend the money more efficiently. And it maintains current levels of spending instead of reductions. And it does not have the uncertainty of a 98-day bill that's going to cost us half of the proposed projects this construction season. Give us that chance. Let us have that vote. What are you afraid of? You afraid it might pass?
Time of the gentleman's expired. The gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself 30 seconds.
The gentleman's recognized for 30 seconds.